Today I will be reading A Smart Kid's Guide to Losing a Pet by Petersen and illustrated by Ronnie. Chapter 1. Part of the Family. Do you have a pet? Or have you had one in the past? What was it like when you first met your pet? For some people, that is a magical moment. It feels like you belong together. Or maybe you took some time to get to know your pet. The friendship grew slowly, or maybe your family had your pet already when you were born. It does not matter how your story started. Once a pet becomes your friend, it is in your heart forever. Animals and people have not always lived together. Scientists use fossils to understand how their friendships began. Fossils are the hardened remains of things that lived long ago. They show that wolves were the first animals to be tamed and live near people. This happened in Europe at least 32,000 years ago. People at that time moved from place to place. They hunted meat and gathered plants for food. Wolves might have followed the hunters, searching for leftover meat. These two species slowly learned to work together. People provided food, wolves protected them in return. In time, tame wolves became different than their wild cousins. They were faithful to people. They were dogs. Cats were wild until 12,000 years ago. Things changed when people began to settle down on farms and in towns. The first villages were located in a region called the Near East. This region now includes the countries of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. Those ancient people learned to grow wheat and other grains that could be made into bread. Mice found and ate some of the grain. Wild cats came into villages to hunt the mice. Like dogs, cats slowly learned to live among people. Today, more than 164 million Americans live with cats and dogs. We have many other kinds of pets too. Some are bigger than you. Others are small enough to fit in your pocket. Your pet might be a small and furry hamster, mouse, or guinea pig. It could be an animal with feathers, fins, scales, or even a shell. Pets are around when you need them. They are fun to play with. They are often interesting to watch. Pets keep you company when you are lonely, and they are good listeners whenever you need to talk. Pets are different from people in many ways, but they are part of the family, and we usually love them. This is why you feel sad when a pet dies. It is painful to lose someone you love. Do you have a favorite photo of your pet? If not, you can draw one. Make a frame for the picture with cardboard or craft sticks. Your framed picture is a special way to keep your friend close. It can remind you of the great times you spent together. Chapter 2. Part of Life. You may have learned about the life cycle in school. A cycle is a set of events that happen over and over again. In the life cycle, there are stages called birth, growth, and change. For example, caterpillars hatch from eggs. They grow and then become butterflies or moths. Kittens are born from their mothers, not from eggs. A kitten does not look much different than its parent, but it grows bigger and changes by learning new skills. Death is the other important stage of any life cycle. Death is when life comes to an end. All living things will die someday. A pet that lives a long life will die of old age. Its body slows down and weakens over time. Older pets sometimes die of a heart attack or stroke, but death is not always so quick. Your older pet might not be able to eat enough. Its eyesight may be so poor that it cannot walk. Veterinarians help pets stay healthy and live longer. They can but they cannot change how the life cycle works. If your pet is old or very sick, the veterinarian might not be able to help it get well. Your pet might be in pain or unable to eat or move around. Sometimes the veterinarian can only help by giving it a special shot. Your pet dies right after. It feels no fear. The shot does not hurt. This is called euthanasia. It is very hard for a family to make this decision, but it can also be the most caring choice for a dear pet. Your family can choose to be with your pet when it dies, or you can say goodbye and tell your pet that you love it. No one expects a younger pet to die, but this happens too. Pets of any age can become seriously ill, or they might be wounded in an accident. It is hard that we never know when or how a pet will die. You might want to see your pet after it dies, or you might want to remember how it was when alive. Either choice is okay. Your family will decide how to take care of its body. Sometimes people like to bury a pet in the ground or in the yard. Parents can find out if your city allows this. What if you don't have a yard? Many towns also have a pet cemetery. When a pet is buried, its body is usually put in a box. The box goes into the ground and is covered with dirt. You can plant grass or flowers over it. Or your family might choose cremation. People have also used this method for thousands of years. The body is burned in a hot fire. Your family can decide to keep the ashes that are left behind. Some people bury the ashes or keep them in a special box at home. Death is confusing. Someone we love is there, and then he or she is gone. Grief is the great sadness that comes with losing something or someone you love. It is hard because we cannot control grief. The feelings come up in different ways and at unexpected times. Everyone goes through grief differently. Some people are quiet and want to be alone with their feelings. Others need to talk, cry, laugh, or yell. The only cure for grief is to let it out. Death is not like sleep. Your pet will not wake up again, but you do not have to forget your friend. Write a story about a special time you spent together. You can even make a whole book full of stories. Share your book with friends and family members. Maybe they will also have favorite stories to add. Chapter 3. Saying Goodbye. You will probably have a lot of questions after your pet's death, but it can be hard to know how to ask about such big topics. Adults are sometimes afraid to bring it up too. They don't want to upset you. Here are some common questions that people think about and talk about. What happens after death? No one knows what happens when a person or pet dies. Death is a mystery, but everyone has ideas. For example, ancient Egyptians believed in life after death. Cats were often mummified after they died. One cemetery in Egypt contains more than 300,000 cat mummies. Mummified bodies do not decay. The Egyptians protected the body so the spirit could move on to the afterlife. They hoped the cat would live with its family forever. Some people believe that the dead go to heaven. People and pets all meet there after death. Other people believe that the soul is born into a new body. Some people believe that death can be seen simply as an ending. Talk to your parents. They can share their thoughts and beliefs about death. You can share your thoughts and beliefs about death too. Was it my fault? Guilt can come up when you are grieving. It is an achy feeling that maybe you did something wrong. Children and even adults worry and wonder if they might have caused a pet's death. Perhaps they didn't lock a gate and the pet ran out, or they forgot to feed the pet once. Sometimes we get mad at our pets. We wish they would go just away. If the pet dies afterward, you might feel responsible. Do not blame yourself. Your wishes cannot cause bad things to happen. And sometimes accidents happen even when people are very careful. Pets die because they grow old, become sick, or have accidents. Will I always feel so bad? Grief is a mishmash of feelings. It may slow up one day as sadness. That is because you miss your pet so much. The next day, you might feel great joy that you had such a good friend at all. People sometimes feel mad after a death too. They are hurt about being left alone. Or maybe they believe someone caused their pet's death. When you keep bad feelings inside, they hurt even more. Remember that grief is more than a bunch of feelings. It is also a process. You can get through it step by step. One important step is to let your feelings out by sharing them with someone you trust. Do not hide them. Cry if you feel the need. Laugh when something is funny. It is not wrong to feel happy when you are grieving. Talk with other people who loved your pet. Is that too hard? Try writing in a journal instead. You don't need to buy anything fancy. Just take out a blank school notebook or fold together a few sheets of blank paper. There is no right or wrong way to keep a journal. It can hold a list of words that describe your feelings. Or maybe you would like to write letters to your pet. You will not forget your animal friend, but you will begin to remember your pet with a smile instead of tears. Some pets run away or become lost. You can put up lost pet signs with a picture and phone number. A person might call if they find your pet. Sadly, some pets never make it home. This feels like a death, even though you don't know for sure what happened. Let yourself grieve and remember your pet with love. Chapter 4. Good Memories. There are many ways to honor and remember your pet. At first, you might not like this idea. You might think it is easier just to be alone. But try taking the risk. Most people find that it feels good to celebrate the life of someone they love. Sharing good memories can help you through the grieving process. You can plan a funeral or other service after your pet's death. Invite family, friends, and neighbors who cared about him. Funerals are not really for the dead. They are a way for the living to say goodbye. The service does not have to be sad or serious. You can play music, sing, or read a poem. Sharing memories with others is an important step to letting go of your grief. Have you ever seen a memorial? It is a lasting reminder of someone who died. You can choose to make almost any kind of memorial for your pet. Maybe you would like to put a stone on the spot where your pet is buried. Did your pet love to sleep in a sunny corner of the house? You could put a little statue in that spot. Or you might plant a tree in the park where it liked to run and play. Other members of your family might also want to make a memorial for your pet. Each of you remembers your pet differently. Photos capture our memories forever. When you are ready, look through photos showing your pet's life. Sit down and look through them with your family. You can share special stories of your pet. You might cry a little. You will probably laugh a lot. All your feelings are okay. Have your favorite photos printed and paste them into a book. Then you will always be able to find them. You can write stories in the book or add special items that tell about your pet's life. Even the corner of a food bag has meaning if it reminds you of the time you spent together. Grief can be slow. You must be patient to let your heart heal. But don't worry. There will come a time when you do not look for your pet around every corner. The memories of him will not sting anymore. Instead, they will be sweet and comforting. Then you might want to welcome a new animal friend into your house. Have a family meeting to talk about it. Does everyone feel ready? You have a lot of love to give. A pet will be lucky to share it. Your parents or other adult family members may have lost a pet before. Ask how they met that pet, what happened to cause its death, and how did the adult deal with his or her feelings of grief. Sharing stories can bring you closer. Sharing helps you know that you are not alone. You might even learn something about how to heal. And that is the end.